that today's meeting is being live streamed on the City Council YouTube channel, so the public can observe the meeting without needing to be present here in the Civic Hall. Can I also remind any members of the public present that this is a formal meeting? Whilst we welcome your attendance, we ask that you do not approach members of the panel during the meeting and that proceedings are observed quietly and without interruption. If this is not adhered to, you may be asked to leave the meeting and the meeting will be suspended while this is facilitated. City plans panels deal with applications from the city centre as well as the largest and most significant applications that the council receives. The aim of the panel is to hear all the relevant information from applicants, registered speakers and council officers to help members of the panel make their decision. So I will now ask members and officers to introduce themselves and mute your microphone once you have done. And if we can start from my left, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Daljit Singh. I lead the Central Area Planning team.
Good afternoon, Robin Coghlan, Principal Planning Officer.
Good afternoon, I'm Lisa Brannan, Highways.
Good afternoon, Archie Naylor, District Valuer Services.
Good afternoon, Councillor Andy Rowntree from Kirkstall.
Hello everybody, Councillor Katie Dye from Killingbeck and Seacroft Ward.
Good afternoon, Councillor Asghar Khan, Councillor for Bermouth and Richmond Hill Ward.
Good afternoon everybody, Councillor Jones, representing the ward of Horsforth.
Good afternoon, Lewis Footick, part of the Plans Pal admin team.
Hello everyone, I'm Councillor Colin Campbell.
Good afternoon, Councillor David Blackburn, Farnley and Wortley Ward.
Good afternoon, Councillor Simon Seary from the Putty Ward.
Good afternoon, Councillor Barry Anderson, Adlin Wharfdale Ward.
Good afternoon, John Stoner, Team Leader, Design and Projects.
Good afternoon, Andy Booth, Clerk to the panel.
Hello everyone, Nikki Diol, Head of Legal Service and Advisor to this panel today.
Good afternoon, David Feeney, Chief Planning Officer.
Good afternoon, Jonathan Carr, Head of Development Management.
Okay, thank you everybody. Can I just extend our thanks to Nikki on behalf of our panel, as it is her last ever plans panel today. So I just wanted to say thank you for all the help and guidance that you've given to us and other panels over the years. I understand you're not going far to Wyker, so we may see you around. But yeah, thank you on behalf of the panel for all your help and advice that you've given us, and good luck in the new role. Okay. To the agenda, please.
Thank you, Chair. Under agenda item number 1, there are no appeals against the refusal of inspection of documents. Under item number 2, there's no exempt information on today's agenda. Item number 3, we have no late items. Item number 4, could I ask members if they've got any interest to declare? Take the silence as a no. Moving on to agenda item number 5, apologies for absence. We have apologies from Councillors Brooks, Carlill and Garvani. And we have Councillors Jones and Rowntree present as substitutes today. And if I just take you on to agenda item 6, the minutes. Unfortunately, the minutes have been missed from today's agenda in error, so we'll bring them to the next meeting for approval then. Thank you, Chair.
Brilliant, thank you. Yes, we don't have the minutes circulating the pack, so we will have to leave agenda item number 6 and matters arising, and we'll take those at the September meeting. So we'll have 2 sets of minutes at the September meeting. Okay, so what we will do then is move to agenda item number 7, which is the application at Saina Lane, coming back to panel again with some amendments. So I will invite Robin to give us an updated presentation, and then we can have a discussion with regards to application. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So this scheme is brought back to panel with a revised scheme following deferrals at the panels. So I'll assume members are familiar with the site and the location from the previous panel presentations, so I'll say very little about this. It's an area of transition in the southeast fringe of the city centre, and the proposal is for an 18-storey building of 164 flats. The scheme is similar to an outline planning permission approved in November 2022. The outline was for 11,500 square metres of floor space that equated to 150 flats on a very similar footprint. But I'll just make the point that this isn't reserved matters to that. It's a separate full planning application. So the applicant has responded to the concerns that members expressed at the July panel. There are design changes and there's an increase in the green space contribution. So the main design change is to reinstate the inset balconies and fins to the western corner of the building. And the design basically reverts to what was presented to City Plans panel in May. And on this CGI, you can see the improved depth of detail along the corner there with the inset balconies, and this addresses the concerns of the design officer. And then here you can see the balconies that would be repeated for all of the west-facing flats. So each of those flats would have the improved amenity of a balcony. And as I explained at the previous panel meetings, it's considered that the treatment of the facades is good, with deep window reveals and a variety of textures and materials. One additional improvement is that the applicant has agreed to carry the textured brickwork to the bottom 3 stories around to the Sena Lane elevation, which helps to define the plinth or the base of the building. So turning to green space, the applicant has agreed to increase the green space financial contribution to £206,937, and this was after reflecting on members' opinions expressed at the July panel that the amenity space to the Carlisle road frontage should not qualify as green space. And whilst it would be publicly accessible and have 2 seating areas amongst trees and soft landscaping, it is small, narrow, and faces the road. And looking at the nearby Points Cross development, a similar road-facing amenity strips were not counted as green space in that development. So a recalculation of the sum without allowing for this space generates the total of 206,937, as I mentioned, and the applicant is willing to pay that. It's also worth noting that residents would have a number of parks and green spaces within walking distance, and I think you can just see the radius there of 720 meters. That equates to 10 minutes walk. And as you can see, the spaces that are shown there, there's quite a number of substantial areas of parkland and public space that are within easy walking distance. So in summary, the proposal is considered fully compliant with all policies. The size, form and detailed design is considered appropriate to its context and of an appropriate quality, consistent with policy P10. The affordable housing offer is policy compliant. The type of affordable housing, affordable private rent, is listed as an acceptable type of affordable housing both in national policy and in our own policy H5 of the core strategy. The reduced quantity of affordable housing is justified by the viability assessment. The viability assessment informs us that no affordable housing is viable, but the applicant has been willing to provide some affordable housing by taking a long-term view and hoping to make savings on tender negotiations. And while some people may take a dim view of viability assessments, they are professionally prepared based on strict guidelines and the best evidence. And the District Valuer Service has endorsed this viability assessment. And it's also important to remember that the applicant has agreed to a late stage review. So if it's found that actual costs and revenues offer improved headroom, then any gains would accrue to the City Council for the benefit of affordable housing. And the green space financial contribution is increased to the full amount, assuming no on-site provision. And that makes it fully compliant with our policy G4. Also, the amenity space that would be provided, including trees, soft planting and seating, would contribute positively to the street scene at least. And all other policy requirements are met. The narrow footpaths around the site would be widened to 3 metres. There's funding for TROs that may be necessary if there's any displacement local on-street parking. There's good bike storage. There's a good travel plan with funding to encourage residents to make sustainable travel choices. And overall, it is a brownfield site in a good, accessible location, centrally located. And as such, the recommendation is to defer and delegate for approval, subject to conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the updated presentation. We don't have any speakers listed for this application, but we do for them. Okay, so I will move to questions for officers. So do any members have questions for officers on the application? Councillor Dye and Councillor Khan.
Thank you. Just a quick one, just to confirm that although the external landscaping no longer counts in terms of green space, does it stay the same as in the plans that we were shown at last panel?
Yes, it does. It stays exactly the same.
Thank you, Chair. Just to follow on from Councillor Dye, Robin, can you bring up the map where you show the nearest parks, please, for this site? Yes. I see there's 2 parks, well, 4 parks within the ward I represent, but the application, it's not in Bermontos, Richmond Hill, and those 2 parks, LB, the first 2, definitely needs improvement in those areas. And is there any way we can earmark some funding from this scheme to go towards those 2 parks for improvement, so the residents and can benefit from this site as well?
Dalgett will come in, yeah.
Yes, Councillor Khan, the funding will be earmarked flexibly to be spent where the need is and where projects are in consultation with our parks and countryside. So it's not bound by the fact that there's a ward boundary change. It's about accessibility and need, and if in consultation with parks and countryside, the parks, I think you're referring to, are 1 and 2, are the ones that need improvement, then definitely that's where the contribution could be spent.
So yes, Councillor Khan, some lobbying there that you can do with the flexible funding. Any further questions to officers on the application? No? Okay, thank you everyone. Any comments? Do members have comments on the application? No? Oh, Councillor Campbell. I was waiting.
Well, I'm looking across the table and noticing everybody's waiting for me to dive in at this point. I think that the whole process we've gone through with this site is a useful lesson for developers, in my opinion, because we've been very clear in our message, haven't we, that whatever other local authorities want or ask for, in Leeds we have a very specific set of requirements. And to come along with a planning application which doesn't come anywhere near that or misses out on elements of that, you will get grief, if nothing else from me, because we expect the best. We expect the best in design, we expect the best in facilities, we expect the flats to meet the standards that we've set for it. I suppose it is fair to say there has been some movement on this particular site. So I think we've pulled back the dumbing down of the design, and perhaps slightly improved it, and that's a plus in my opinion. And okay, thank you to the developers for picking that up. I wasn't going to say anything about viability assessments until Robin had a bit of a dig. I will continue to say that I do not believe that viability assessments, and I have no complaints about the district valuer. I know that they're doing their work in response to a set of criteria they're given. But I do not believe they reflect the true value that developers get out of these sites. We always ask that particular question, don't we? If it's unviable, why are you doing it? And the answer is, well, we're doing it because we can make it viable if we don't meet council policy. And I'll go back to the point, council has policies at which we set the basic standards for development in Leeds. So you can make it viable by not meeting our basic standards. So in effect, you are producing a substandard development. I'm quite happy to say that because I believe that that's what developers are doing. That said, we are where we are. And the green space, I appreciate you wanted to get a bit of money to Bermontoffs. Why wouldn't you? You know, if it was a bit nearer Ockley, I'd be asking for a bit as well. But I think the point is, isn't it, that the green space contribution should be to provide new green space, not to maintain what we've got. And unfortunately, the process of buying out of the obligation in some ways means that Parks and Countryside, I know they're under pressure, look at that as a source of funding for maintenance when we're not looking at it as a source of funding for a new parks area. I was pondering on this particular development as I came in today, because I think we all agreed last time that really the green space on this site is sort of window box type green space. There is really little meaningful green space. But it did strike me that once we've got the development started down there, and I was thinking about the one we did a couple of sessions ago out towards the gyratory. Once you start that residential development on those streets, it snowballs. There's a large demand for housing sites within the centre, and I can see that eventually most of Say Lane will be built up in some form of housing or other. And it would seem to me that officers might want to think about saying, could we look at the street as a whole rather than individual sites? So at this end, we haven't got much. But we could say, if there's development moving all the way down the street, which there will be, could we not try and use that green space? Because none of them will provide 100% green space. Could we use that green space discussion to create a meaningful green space on the street? And I think it's a bit different, you know, about saying you can walk to the park. Yes, you can. I live in a house, I can walk to the park. But I do like to sit in the garden as well. And I think there needs to be green space around each of these housing developments, just for people to just sit out in. But if we could perhaps think about it outside the box, with the possibility of looking at a street's worth of green space, I think that would be a step forward. Now, thanks for indulging me with that, Chair. But if you know the old saying, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. I can see you and Councillor Khan vying for, discussing between you where this money is going to go. Councillor Khan, you wanted to come in with a comment.
Yeah, just briefly, Chair. Yes, I will advocate for my ward, the ward I represent, and it's a neighbouring ward where the development is taking place, and it's my duty to make sure the residents of Bermatoft and Richmond will get the best out of it as well. Just coming back, on the design, and Leeds is the second biggest local authority, and we are a thriving, vibrant city, and we need to be the best city in the United Kingdom as well. And the developers, as Colin said, they need to bring best buildings designs in Leeds so people can enjoy as well. And I do welcome the break of the block as well with a lower layer of a different type of brick, so that breaks up the building as well, and that's welcomed. And it can be done, and you have produced, and you have done a fantastic job. And I just want to say thank you. And Chair, with those remarks, I'm happy to move the recommendation for approval for this application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Khan. I've just before you said that, Councillor Blackburn did indicate he wanted to speak, so I'm going to take Councillor Blackburn, and then if there's no other speakers, I will come back to you.
Right, thanks. I'm still not happy with this, but I think we've pushed this about as far as we can do, and we've got out of it what we can. And I don't think it's an option turning it down. So, as I say, I think we've got to move forward with what's there. But let it be a warning to any developer. Come for something that's not quite policy, and we'll make you take it away. But as I say, I'm still not happy. But as I say, I think we've pushed it as far as we can.
Okay, any further comments? No, and yeah, I absolutely welcome your comments, Councillor Blackburn, that if we need to make sure that our applications are compliant, and we need to make sure that we get green space around as many developments as we absolutely can. If there are no further comments, I will revert back to Councillor Khan, who was moving the recommendation on page 5. And Councillor Jones, you're seconding that. Okay, thank you. We have nothing to sum up, no further comments here. No, that's great. So I will put that recommendation to the panel then. So can members indicate by show of hands those in favour, please, of the recommendation on page 5? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's 8 people in favour. That's everybody on the plans panel today, so that's unanimous. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance.
Sorry, Chair. Did you vote in favour of that as well?
I didn't do my own vote. I was too
sorry.
busy counting up. Sorry. Yes, I am in favour. Okay. Yes, sorry. That's 9 people. Sorry, I was too busy counting everybody else's votes. I apologise. Thank you for. What will we do without you when you've moved on? Sorry, Councillor Campbell.
Sorry, I know we've more or less finished, Chair, but I noticed that a number of the papers say not for publication, so are our officers collecting them in?
Yes, can we leave papers on desks, please, so that officers can collect them in and dispose of them confidentially, please? Thank you. Yeah, that's the obviously the financial papers that are there. If you can leave those behind, thank you. Thank you, everybody. As I said, that motion is carried. 9 votes in favour. Thank you for reminding me. Do you want to summarise anything, or are we okay?
It's going to be a very short summary. Clearly, members are satisfied with the changes that have been brought back to the extent that they're willing to approve or support the recommendation to approve subject to completion of the Section 106 agreement and the conditions. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Okay, thank you everybody, officers and members. Thank you for attending. That concludes today's business. The next meeting of City Plans is on Thursday the 4th of September, and I will see you all there. Thank you.